began in June 22nd of 1942. The citizens voted, I believe it was 67-8, a vote of the citizenry at that time to form a fire district.
It became known as Kitsap County Fire District 1, which meant that it was one of the first fire protection districts organized under state law in Kitsap. Fire District 1 became widely known due to the people that were involved in the organization. They've always been innovative and creative.
It was small, and we didn't have all this fancy equipment. A lot of it was made by the firemen themselves. We'd show up with people at emergencies. They might be doing something else. They'd show up with suits on and fight a fire with a suit on.
When I first started with a fire, and I showed up and said, I want to be a firefighter. I was handed a hat and some boots and a coat and said, here's the truck, you hang on the back.
The method for communicating to the volunteers that there was a fire, besides the boxes, which were called plectrons at home, was the fire horns, or air horns as they were known as.
The tones used to go out. You would actually receive a phone call to local homes, and then that volunteer or a family member of the volunteer would make other phone calls to then call other members of the community to help respond.
I've seen huge changes in the fire department in the last 30-some years, from feeling like if you didn't get up out of bed or leave work to go to a call, the house would truly burn down or the people would be trapped in the car, to seeing that progress now where you've definitely got a paid staff and that instant response where it's not 100% dependent on volunteers.
Nowadays, what we get is we get a 911 dispatch through an enhanced 911 system that actually triggers dispatch to our fire stations.
It's a much quicker response to the emergency, and as the volunteers are able to get from their homes to their prospective stations and their apparatus and then respond, and they assist the career individuals.
Now, one of the goals we have is to be able to roll a fire engine out of a station within 60 seconds of being toned out. So we're essentially providing a service out on the street much quicker than we used to 30 years ago. When I first joined, we didn't have paramedics. Essentially, basic EMT was the highest level of medical training.
One of the first ambulance we had was a hearse, and we called it the Black Mariah because that's just what it was a hearse, and people would go and pick up a person that was ill or anything and put them in a hearse. They didn't exactly appreciate that.
In those days, you essentially loaded the patient and you ran condition red to the hospital to try to get to that next level of service for patient help. Nowadays, what we do is we provide a lot of that treatment and stabilization out in the field by our paramedic level trained personnel, so that when we receive a call, say for an emergency accident, and we're able to go out on maybe a trauma call, the paramedics are able to do a lot of the intervention medical things like giving an IV and replacing body fluids and things, whereas we used to have to go all the way to a hospital to be able to start treating and helping those patients.
By sharing things with other fire departments, with other public and private groups around the county, we're able to make the best use of the public dollar.
We have taken small organizations that each had a fire chief, that each had secretaries, that each had firefighters, that each had volunteers, that each had apparatus, and we've combined those, and through the joining of the departments, there's less duplication of effort, and we've cut costs by doing that.
We've got a public-public partnership with Silverdale Water District.
Morgan Johnson, who is the Water District Manager, myself were the project coordinators for each of our organizations on the joint administrative facility.
We have the administrative center, which is half water and half fire in there, or fire water, as some like to call it. And then we have this maintenance facility down here that houses not only the water district's equipment, but also the shop for repairing both water department vehicles and fire department vehicles.
The cost savings to the citizens for this joint venture was immense.
We were actually able to save over $1 million between the two agencies when we built this common facility.
Those savings continue today through using the same copy machine, using the same fax machine, not duplicating effort.
We're pretty proud of it. It's been in some national magazines. There's been people that have flown out from all over the United States to see this operation.
We get a lot of inquiries from people to provide them information on how we've done some things. We've got some unique things that we've done in Kitsap County and specifically with Central Kitsap that I think are models.
Kitsap has a consolidated 911 center. That means that the entire county is covered by one dispatch center. It covers fire, EMS, and law enforcement requests.
And that's something that is an advantage. People make one call to 911, the dispatcher's there, take the call, and dispatch the appropriate units.
I've enjoyed working with this fire department because it's been so progressive.
Many times you go to a conference and people say, "Oh, you're from Kitsap. Boy, we wish our area was like yours." It's a proud tradition and it's something that you have to work hard to live up to.
We become a district of immense proportion.
It's quite a long evolutionary process, as you're hearing about.
The fire district is in need of equipment. We are operating in many cases on very old equipment. We have some fire apparatus that is 1969.
It's important that our department continues to grow, continues to have the funding that we need to support the community in which we serve.
We do need additional funds. There are times when we simply have to go out and ask the public. It's always a difficult time for us to do that, to make sure that we get the word out so that the public understands what we're looking for.
After all these years, we're going to have to go back out to the public and ask them what kind of level of fire protection and EMS they'd like to have.
Our community is growing, our department is growing, and we need their support.
Because we can't provide this service without the public, and we do provide a vital service, but it is a partnership. It's a partnership with the community. And I hope that people view it that way because that's certainly the way we view it.
We have great people. I think they got great hearts, and they do the best job possible. We're here, we're committed, we're in place, and we want to serve the community.